What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Talk. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy, joined by Brandon Kramer, Paraski Xenofontos, and a very special guest today. We have Yankees minor leaguer. We got Max Burt on the show. How are we doing tonight?
What's up, guys? How are we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Doing well.
Awesome. So, very special to have Max on here, especially to hear the perspective of a minor league baseball player in the Yankees organization and kind of how he's handling the whole craziness of what this MLB season has become. So let's just get right into it here. First question I really wanted to ask you is what you're doing with all this free time, because it's not a normal season for you. Normally you would be on the road, you would be playing games, you would be getting your at-bats in, but clearly that's not happening. So now what are you doing with all that free time?
Yeah. Kind of right when we got to Texas, obviously, right when we got sent home from spring training, obviously we talked kind of right when that started. Just was lifting, hitting, getting live at bats because the pitchers were throwing to us, and then we kept doing that probably for like 3 months. And then now because we probably have, a group of like 20 guys here down in Houston, and probably about, 8 of them went to the 60-man. And so it was pretty cool to see that, just kind of see guys get that shot to get, called a 60-man, and actually a couple now that are playing in the big leagues. So it's cool to see that. But, since everyone left and since, the MLB season has started, haven't really been able to get much live at bats, but still staying at it in the gym and, doing what I can in the field and, keep on working on the swing and trying to get that swing right for whenever they call us next. So
100%. Because at this point, it's like you don't really know when your next game is. So like that kind of leads me into my next question, and that is, what are your expectations heading into next season? Because usually when you're always looking towards the next season, you go based off the season before. But now you don't really have a season before to go off of. So where do you get those expectations from?
Yeah, I don't think my expectations really ever change. Obviously, it stinks that we didn't really get to have a season this year at all, and we couldn't really show what we kind of worked on throughout the off season. But this is just almost. You got to look at it in some sort of positive light. So, I do have a lot of things to work on. I'm continuing to work on. I'm just happy and eager to be able to show that off here whenever that may be, whether it be in the fall in some sort of instructional league or if we end up having to wait until next spring training. So, expectation-wise, obviously would have loved to, hit homers, hit doubles, and make all the plays, get called up. But, just kind of, everybody's in this situation right now. So you just kind of got to try and look at it in, any sort of positive light and just worry about myself and just get better each day. So that's kind of bad.
100%.
Have any of your coaches reached out to you guys just what to work on, see how you're doing? What's the next step going forward?
Definitely. I've been in touch with a bunch of our hitting guys and even some fielding guys as well. So there's a lot more that goes into fielding that people don't really understand. So it's pretty cool. We have a great staff, so it's been really nice during this time to just kind of really challenge myself in practice, which hopefully is going to make those games that much easier. So
100%. That was my whole thing. Like, we had a podcast yesterday and I was talking about it, and we were talking about like the pros and the cons of this whole season. And I was like, I don't really stress over things that are out of my control. And I'm sure you kind of have the same mindset with it. Now, obviously it's out of your control. Like, you can't get live at bats. You can't play this season. So there's no sense in really worrying about it.
Yeah.
But for the MLB, they are playing a season. They have a 60-game season going on. Not too sure if it is going to get finished. I guess that's another thing we're going to have to wait and see. But have you been keeping up with it? Do you personally think that they're going to be able to finish?
Yeah, I think that, with what they got going now, and obviously they're trying to, if obviously we've seen some outbreaks with some teams now, and they've tried to do the best they can as far as to minimize that. But this is going to be big for all sports, honestly, if we get through this season, because if we get through this season, then and basketball obviously going on now, if the NBA gets through their season, then it's going to look a lot better for the NFL season, and then now all seasons that come this following year. So this is big. They got to try and do whatever they can to get through this, because this would be a real disappointment if the MLB season kind of got cut short because this outbreak. But, I think the MLB is, doing the best they can as far as to, minimizing the outbreaks and, doing what they can. But we really do need this season to, kind of finish up and, get. And that's just as a sports fan in general. That's just not even as a Yankees fan. That's obviously, we just need that just for sports and hopefully society. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obvious the role that MLB has kind of played in the restructuring of society as a whole, just things getting back to normal in whatever way possible.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned the NBA is also back. So you have the Bulls jersey on, jersey,
yes.
hoodie, whatever
I just got this today, actually.
It's fire. What year is that from the finals?
96, my birth
96?
year, so I thought I'd buy it today. It was on the
So what do you think about the whole bubble idea? Because personally, I think that it's genius, but clearly it's not something the MLB really could have implemented because the NBA only had 7 games left in the regular season, so it makes a lot more sense. But what do you think about the bubble idea as a whole?
It's a great idea as far as to, being able to minimize, the outbreaks, stuff like that. But then you got to think about, these players, they're away from their families, they're away from their kids. It's asking a hell of a lot more from these guys than they are normally asked for. So, me personally as a sports fan and, a guy that loves sports and everything about it, I think it's a great idea. But like you said, yeah, it would just be too hard for baseball because there's so much travel and so many more guys. So, but I think it's a great idea. I think the NBA is definitely gonna get through this season. So it's gonna be cool to see what kind of happens from that kind of thing. So
yeah. What do you have winning the championship?
I mean, I'm a C's guy, so I love the Celtics. So we'll see. But I don't know. It's gonna be tough to beat those LA teams. It's gonna be tough.
I think LeBron's got it, to be honest.
It's gonna.
I think he's got to do it for Kobe.
No, it's true. I think LA Lakers and LeBron. It's gonna be theirs to lose. So I don't know. We'll see.
Going back to baseball with this whole thing. So minor leagues. Now it's obviously a grind. So obviously we could assume that the thing you most about the season is playing games and getting at bats. But what's one thing about the minor league grind that you miss the most that you would have never expected to miss?
Yeah, I think honestly we talked about this a little bit in the first podcast, and it's really just being with the guys, taking those long bus trips, being in the clubhouse, 6 hours before the game starts. I don't know, you do. I mean, it's cliche, but you do kind of build a brotherhood with every team you're on. You have team chemistry and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the stuff that I miss the most. Hotels, all that kind of stuff. So, obviously it is a grind, and we travel a lot. But that's the stuff that I miss most, and kind of taking it for granted. So it's going to make me appreciate it that much more next season. So
yeah. Have you been in touch with a lot of your teammates over this time?
Yeah, I've been in touch. Obviously, as you guys know, living here with Mickey Bees and Josh Burrow. So obviously keep in touch with them. And then, I've been in touch with a bunch of the guys, and some guys that I played with this past year that have actually, pitched in the big leagues this year. So it's been pretty cool to see.
It's awesome.
Even though it's implemented for the 60-game season, what's your thoughts on doubleheaders being 7 innings back-to-back?
It's interesting. It definitely kind of makes the day go by a little bit faster, obviously. The last time we played 7 innings has been, I really didn't even play 7-inning doubleheaders in college. Maybe I played 1, I think. So it kind of brings you back to the days of, high school and summer ball growing up. But it's interesting. It's, you got to play the game a little bit different when it's 7 innings, as far as, bringing your bullpen in a little bit earlier maybe. And, it's just a different look. And I think the fans, honestly, I think I think the guys playing, and, myself included, we do want to play that full 9 innings and get that, full 9 innings in. But I think I think this can help bring in more fans, and doing things different is what attracts fans. So I think that's what they're going to be doing here. So I don't know. I'm interested to see that first double header day. So
Yeah.
So I actually got a big question for you. So were you able to watch the Astros-Dodgers series at all?
I did. Yes, I did.
So what's your opinion on Joe Kelly and maybe specifically the suspension they handed down on him?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. Obviously we know what happened with all that kind of stuff, but he didn't get tossed from the game, and he didn't really hit anybody. So that's why I was surprised. Where if he hits somebody, maybe I'm feeling a little bit different about it, but he didn't hit anybody. And obviously we know the past, so I was a little bit surprised with the suspension. I don't know. We'll see if he serves it or appeals it. So we'll see.
It's definitely gonna be interesting.
Yeah. The whole situation is something that's out of our control. Like I mentioned before, don't worry about things I don't have control over. But so what's one thing that heading into next season where you think they still might okay, so let's say that fans still aren't in play next season.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that will have an impact on your performance? Because I know in the minor leagues the capacity isn't that crazy as it is, but do you think playing without fans will be a weird touch, or do you think it'll just be as normal like MLB's doing it?
I think at first it'll be weird, and obviously you saw kind of when they played those summer camp games and that were televised. You got a little weird vibe about the game. It's like, all right, are they taking it serious? What's going on? But then, as you can see now, when the games mean something, everyone's kind of going, and it's kind of the same baseball. So, I mean, obviously, minor leagues is nothing compared to the big leagues as far as fans, but there's still some good crowds across the minor leagues, and obviously, we love playing in front of fans. I mean, that's part of the experience of baseball. But when it comes down to it, the only thing that matters is between the white lines. So, I think that maybe a little bit it'll be an adjustment period, probably a little bit easier for us than the big league guys, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that big of a difference here when we get started. So
yeah, we were talking about this the other day, and really my perspective on it is that the games feel normal now because it's just like regular season. But I do think once we get to postseason baseball, if we do, I think there's definitely going to be an odd kind of vibe there. It's going to be weird seeing the World Series with potentially no fans. I feel like it might just feel like a random game in June, but hope not. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I don't know. I mean, I think that's what I thought at first. But after seeing these this first week and a half here of games, I'm kind of getting like, at least me personally, I'm watching these games like I'd watch any other game. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
I think obviously when that game means something. I mean, obviously, we saw Yankees Orioles the other night, and then when Judge hit that bomb, it was like I got the juices were definitely going. So
it's like when those big moments happen, it doesn't, your mind doesn't have time to process whether or not there's fans. You just react how you would regardless.
Exactly.
But so I want to say that that's all I have for you today, unless the other guys have any other questions for you.
This is my last question for you, Max. So I know you're a Massachusetts guy. So picture this: is you finally get your call up to the major leagues. Who would be the number one person you call first? And other than Fenway Park, what's one stadium you would love to get your first hit in?
So I think the first person I'd call will definitely be my dad. Dad and mom. Obviously they've been with me here throughout this whole journey, and they've made a lot of sacrifices along the way. So definitely my parents will be my first call. And first hit, I mean, obviously Fenway would be great, just to kind of rub that down all my Red Sox fans. But I don't know. I think being, in any other big part or even at Yankee Stadium would be pretty cool, kind of getting that first hit at home. So obviously that's in the future. Got to kind of worry about what's going on right now. But
Absolutely.
Yankee Stadium would be pretty cool for first knock. So
Yeah. Last comment I have to make about that is hopefully when Max makes his major league debut, there will be fans in the stadium.
Exactly.
I hope there will be fans. But on that note, let's just wrap it up here. Thank you for joining us, Max.
Cool.
I'll put his social media right underneath him. You guys go follow him, talk to him, do whatever you want to do. But we will see you guys next time. Have a good night.